Welcome to episode 16 of the ISHAN cast. As always, I'm joined by my dad. One of these days, I'll get someone who's much cooler to host this, but for now, I'm sort of stuck with what I've got, materials I could find around the house, as it were. How you doing?
Much worse now. Thanks for that wonderful intro.
I thought that was pretty quippy. I thought that was clever. Have I used that word correctly? Quippy, by the way?
Maybe, but
it's an old-timey word
I
just thought of.
I love it how, in the last episode particularly, you were very, very clear that you didn't want me doing any forced dad humor. Keep it straight down the line. Don't try to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then here you come up with the gags right at the get-go. Maybe that gives me permission to be myself.
No, I don't think so. I don't know where you got that from, but that's a nice theory, but I don't think so. Anyway, how about you get stuck in?
Okay, so do you know what song we're talking about today?
We are talking about Ave Maria by some religious dude.
And the funny thing is that you actually probably don't know, but it is Make Up Moves.
I did know that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Make Up Moves.
Yeah.
And maybe we start with a really easy question before I go into my hard-hitting journalism.
Okay.
And that is, what is Make Up Moves about, ISHAN?
Oh, this is such a difficult one. No, it's a song about a guy and a girl who love each other, and they have all these plans on a given day, and there's torrential rain outside, so they decide to cancel their plans, stay indoors, and basically spend quality time together, having a boogie, having a groove, making up dance moves to their favorite songs.
Now, is it just me, or does this song feel quite different in terms of style to some of your other songs?
It's definitely different. It's definitely more simple. There's definitely less kind of cerebral, detailed, complex storytelling going on.
So that's from a lyrical point of view. What about from a musical point of view?
Yeah, it is a bit different. It's a bit of a departure. I'd say there's an element of almost funk. It's just a different kind of, a slightly more danceable groove, I suppose, to some of the other stuff I've made in the past.
Now, I'm going to struggle because I don't have the musical language to describe this. It feels a little bit like, from a chord progression perspective or a rhythmic perspective, that it has a bit more of you said funk. I might say jazz. Someone's going to probably lambast me.
Especially in the bridge, I'd say, yeah, you could call that jazz. I'm also very cautious around genres because there's always somebody who knows more. So yeah, that's why I'm always like, yeah, I think you can say it's like a little bit funk, but yeah.
So I can reflect back when you first played it for me. I straight away thought, wow, this is really different to other things you've written. I really obviously loved it the first time I heard it, but it just felt quite different from use the word groove as well, from a groove perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Are there any parts, or perhaps I should say moments in the song that you particularly enjoy?
I think my favorite part of the song, and I definitely notice this whenever I play it live. Like I always feel myself starting to smile because it's a cool moment for me. Or as far as I'm concerned, is in the second verse where it goes, I can't stand the thought of staying still.
And I can't stand the thought of staying still. Oh, you're like a hurricane, girl.
You know that everyone wants you to sing it right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Should I sing it?
No, and you know what's just before you do that, what I'm realizing as I'm saying this now is, so when I sing, I obviously have a slightly different accent to the way I speak, right? So, for example, to the massive disappointment of a lot of my friends, say dance as opposed to dance, right? Dance is either very Aussie or very American dance, right? I tend to say dance. So I can't stand that's how I speak it, but in the song, because I tend to sing with a more American accent relative to the British accent, it goes, I can't stand the thought of staying still. I'm not going to sing on the podcast, that feels weird. That feels wrong somehow. But yeah, I'm just noticing that now. I can't stand the thought of staying still.
I've never actually thought about, from an accent point of view, whether you say dance or dance, whether you use a more American or a British accent.
Can I dance? Oh my God, I forgot. The word dance is in the song. Can I dance with you? And so when I sing, that feels normal. It doesn't feel like I'm putting on an accent. It just feels like that's how I sing.
So you sing dance, but you would say
dance. Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one. by the way.
Okay. So you really like the part that goes, I can't stand the thought of staying still. I can't stand the thought of staying still.
Ooh.
But, well, actually, that's interesting, right?
Oh, you want to talk about that?
Well, let me tee it up by saying, have you sung every single lyric or sound on the song?
No. But, I mean, you say that, and that infers that normally I do. And we should preface, like, we should talk about this. So quite often there's a little trick I'll do on some of the records, like get to the last chorus and you want to make it feel super exciting, especially on like the more excitable songs. We'll do like crowd group vocals.
But what I was thinking about was that I can't stand the thought of staying still. There's a little ooh.
Yeah.
So where does that come from? Because
okay, I was getting to that. You're rushing me. Let man cook. Let man cook. Okay, so like I was saying, normally we do these crowd vocals. So we'll get, like, if I've got one or two producers in the room, we'll all sit, 10, 15 meters back from the mic and just like scream the chorus in different accents and make it sound like there's a whole crowd chanting along. Anyway, so that's how normally there's not just my voice. There's very, very subtly other things happening. This is the first example, at least that I can think of, where there's a more explicit, like, somebody else's voice. So that was Michael Painter, one of my two producers, Michael and Michael. I don't know if we've spoken about them. I think we have at some point. But yeah, so Michael and Michael have done the majority of this album, Who the Hell is Clara? They did this song, and that was... it was literally like the same take. So I did the take that we used on the record, I Can't Stand the Thought of Staying Still, and... Painter, I think it would have been like the third or fourth take, because obviously we're just searching for the right blend of like excitement and kind of fire. So
the feel,
we're searching for the feel, as we always are, right? And so on this occasion, I sung that line, and I mean I was feeling good about it. Obviously, Painter was feeling really good about it, so he literally just screams out in the studio, "Ooh!" like he did that as just feeling good, and normally like. I don't think he knew in the moment he was going to keep it in there. I mean, we could ask him, but I think it's normally if the producer makes a noise or wants to give a note halfway through a take, like if you say something in the gap, we can just cut it out.
Yep.
So it wasn't like we'd planned it. He just said, "Ooh," and then we just kept it.
So that little ooh, to summarize, the little ooh was a mistake that came from the producer talking out loud, and then it sounded cool, and so you decided to keep it.
It wasn't a mistake. I mean...
But it wasn't intentionally meant to be on the record. It's just that he was responding to
yeah, but I wouldn't call it a mistake. Yeah. He's a very musical guy, and he was having a good time, and, I sung a take, and he was like, that's what we're looking for.
So basically he was going, woo, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But it actually fitted in beautifully, and so you decided to keep it in in the final mix.
Yeah, I mean, that man can't take a breath off beat. So I think everything he does is like to the grid.
Awesome. So the I Can't Stand the Thought of Staying Still. I mean, the next part of that line, "Ooh, you're like a hurricane girl," is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Are there other moments in the song?
Oh,
I have two.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy and just pick the whole song, which is why I'm trying to like think about if anything really jumps out. But maybe you go with your two.
So at the end of the bridge, and when you come back into the chorus, there's like the breakdown bridge, and it just breaks down and it just has an acoustic guitar with a sort of like a really rhythmic strumming sound. That build up because you have this chord progression that builds up and sort of almost creates tension through the bridge, and then it sort of almost releases into this very cool acoustic type feel.
Let's laugh and dance with bad intentions. Let it be known, I think I love you, and that's why I want to spend a day. Can I dance with you?
As you know, I have a colleague at work who listens to this song a lot and loves that particular moment. So I love that moment. It just goes into the breakdown chorus with the acoustic guitar, and then the drums and everything come back in after that first line. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool moment as well.
Yeah. It's great. It's nice.
No question there. This is again my journalistic skills.
Great. No, that's great. I'm going to let you cook. There's nothing for me to respond to. That's great.
The response is you're going to ask me a damn question rather than just
no. That's all right. That's all right.
People don't want to hear you, Dad. They want to hear me.
Yeah, well, I feel like I can only say that so many times, and then I'm just going to let you do your thing. And I figure at some stage when we get enough of an audience, I think the dogs are barking. Hopefully it doesn't get picked up. Hopefully we get enough of an audience in this podcast, and the free market will literally take care of you we're gonna get comments about all the BS that you pull the podcast, and then you'll see the commentary, and that'll get you into line. So I'm trusting in you basically to fix this eventually.
Okay, well the other part, I'm just ignoring you. I'm just moving straight on.
Please.
The other part is the ad lib in the last chorus. So girl, I want to move like you do, you do, you do. Now I sung.
Nice.
How's that?
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, impressive. Now the audience is saying, now I can see where he gets it from.
That's not what they're saying. Trust me. They're saying some things that we can't repeat.
Okay. But that's another very cool moment, I think. Now, when you played the song for me originally, that wasn't there. That's one of those ad-libs you do in the studio, correct?
Yep. I think we spoke about this in the last episode. It's just, I don't plan those going in. We just sit there after the vocal's been recorded and just, experiment, have fun, see what comes out.
Cool. Now, I'm guessing that there are not too many songs where the first word of the song is the word endorphins.
Endorphins in my pocket.
In fact, I ChatGPT'd it.
Of course you did.
Right.
You love this. You're a fiend for the AI language models.
Yes. So there was songs.
So excited to show me
me
all the time. Sorry, can we just take a sidebar and talk about this?
No, we can't.
So many moments. So many moments throughout the week where something random comes up. He's like, come over here. Look, I put this in ChatGPT. How amazing. I don't know if it's because I'm just like, I'm younger than you are. So like for me, this is closer to, I haven't seen technology, in the decades prior. So it's maybe less incredible to me.
So you were born in the internet age, basically. You don't remember the world before that. Get it. But let's go back to my question.
Okay.
So there's not that many songs where it starts with the word endorphin.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? I don't know if you remember. What was going through your mind when you wrote that first line?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is something we touched on before, but when I'm writing songs, not always, but often, I don't quite know everything that I'm doing, if that makes sense. Like I know I'm doing something, and I maybe foolishly believe there's a reason for it. And this is all happening, in real time. So I'm not sitting there analyzing why the word endorphins has come out of my brain, but I feel like something's happening. But so to be honest, as soon as it wasn't like I had a plan, and when I want to write about X, Y, Z, and therefore naturally the word is endorphins. I'm just writing to these chords, writing to this groove, and the line "endorphins in my pocket" comes out, and I'm not sitting there questioning it so much. Like the questioning comes later once the song's done, or once the verse and chorus is done. In that moment, it's more just like following. Okay, endorphins in my pocket. What does that mean? Like, what is the thing, pulling the strings up here, trying to do? So yeah, I mean, I can tell you what it means to me now. I feel like I'm, in many ways, the king of post-rationalization. And maybe that's just a mechanism for me to make myself believe that what I'm doing has meaning. But I mean, I feel like it happens too often for it not to be real, where I'm writing something. I mean, like, we're going to talk about universe needs on a later episode, and that's quite a complicated story. We're going to talk about Clara. We spoke about Supernova before. I think all these songs, it's never like I set out and know exactly what's going on beforehand. It's a process of discovery and exploration. So you asked me what I'm thinking with the line "endorphins in my pocket." The answer is I don't quite know, but like I'm kind of trying to find out.
Right. Are you surprised that no one on social media or having heard the song has made comment or reference the symbolism, or the maybe perhaps I would say symbolism. I don't know if it was deliberate, but the implied symbolism around endorphins relating to your pocket, and then you sort of say like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, so that I knew I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Being blunt, there's a phallic component to this rocket ship, endorphins, pocket.
Yeah. And so I wrote those lines and I was like, oh, that's what that is. Like now, because I think like it took me writing the second line, feeling like a rocket ship that wants to fly away, for me to understand what I was subconsciously doing with endorphins in my pocket. At least to me, that all of a sudden makes sense. I watched the movie Tenet today. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's all about like time and shit. And it made me think of exactly how I write songs. Like you watch the second half of the movie in reverse time. I feel like I did the second thing to justify the first thing anyway. You don't understand that, but you should go watch it. What What was the question? I just distracted myself.
It was about
This is why I have to have voice notes whenever I write songs, because it gone straight away.
it was talking about whether you knew what you're doing when you wrote that line, and I think the answer is you just go with the flow and then you
Yes.
think about it afterwards.
So yes. So when feeling like a rocket ship that wants to fly away came out, then I was like, oh, now I understand the whole thing. Now I understand what I'm getting at here, at least in this first line, if not the whole song. You know, people who have heard all my songs or even one of my songs will know that I'm not one for like overly sexual imagery. That's not my vibe at all. I guess I put that in there because it kind of felt, you know, it felt cheeky, it felt fun, but it also felt like it wasn't so in your face. It felt like, I mean, I remember asking a few friends and I probably asked a few family members as well. And what I felt was like, if I tell you to look for it, you'll find it. And if I know you're someone who, you know, is maybe a little bit younger and maybe has a bit of a, not dirty mind, but like if you're the kind of person to
Wants to see hidden meaning in things.
if you want to see it and you will appreciate it being there, I think you'll find it. Or if you listen to this podcast, and then you will. But I definitely, it was important to me that I felt like, okay, this still makes sense without it.
Got it.
Because, you know, you can have, endorphins can be, you know, just positive emotion, just happiness, right? So if that layer of meaning didn't stand up, I wouldn't have put it in there.
Got it. Okay. Now, you wrote the song, and then when you went to the studio to record it, as often happens, things change when you actually start laying down instrumentation. There
Yep.
were two big changes in this song. Can you recall what they were, and how do you feel? So let me ask the first question. I'll come to the second question after that. Do you remember what those two big changes were?
One instantly comes to mind, and I don't know if that's me melding two into one, but the one that comes to mind is we changed some of the chords. So it used to be that the verse, the chords that are currently in the verse were also in the chorus. So the chorus had this very major kind of happy feeling, whereas now the chorus goes into a slightly darker, slightly more complex chord pattern, I suppose, and then it comes back into the post-chorus, which is the same as the verse, which is quite unusual.
Okay, and do you remember the second change?
Oh, are you talking about the post-chorus hook?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I don't count that as a change in the same way.
So let's explain to people, when you say the post-chorus hook, what are you referring to?
So,
Yep.
Hey, that whole melody
Yes.
in the post-chorus, which is
Yep.
also the intro.
Yes.
That wasn't in there before I went into the studio and sat down with the producers and tried figuring it out. Funnily enough, we came up with that, I want to say, on the second last day of, with Makeup Moves, we did the song in a batch of 4. We were in there for like 3 weeks doing those 4 songs specifically. So when I say the last day, not the last day of making the album, but on the last day of our sort of 3 weeks looking at those 4 songs.
When you say 4 songs, which ones do you mean?
Supernova, Makeup Moves, Don't Tell Me, A Song for My Brother,
Universe Needs.
Thank you.
They're the 4 you did in that batch.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this was the second last day of working across those 4 songs.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that until you reminded me. But yeah, so like when I went into the studio, I had some kind of little guitar like single note melody. I feel like I definitely went in there saying this isn't it, but you know, there's going to be something here. Like, I mean, it's not a vocal chop. It's not a vocal thing. This is an instrumental. Funnily enough, it ended up being a vocal chop, kind of.
Yep.
But yeah, I went in there with like, we're going to have something in here that's going to be our hook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when things do evolve in the studio, right? You go in and then you change things and you rewrite bits and pieces. How do you feel about that as they morph through the production process?
I don't know. I mean, it always changes. Obviously, I'm always excited to make things better. I'd be lying if I didn't mention the fact that sometimes sometimes I find it difficult to let go of the things that I know, and I think that goes for a lot of people or most people. I mean, we talk a lot about demoitis. That's a term that gets thrown around a lot here.
I remember if people haven't heard, excuse me, the entire podcast series.
Shame on you.
The My Mouth episode talks about demoitis in particular, because at that point a lot of people had heard the acoustic version on social media, but they weren't used to the full produced version. So that's
sure.
It's getting used to a particular version of something and then struggling to adapt to the final version, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that could be like, struggling to move on from the acoustic version that I like how it's written. That could be struggling to move on from what we did in the studio on Monday, now being Wednesday. So yeah, it's always a mixed bag.
I feel like you're getting better at this though with more experience.
Yeah,
I think you've probably gone through enough songs being produced to know that it's hard to let go of some things, but when you do, normally you're happy. A little after it settles for a while, you're happy with the changes.
For sure, and I mean, it's this is a bit of a loser, not a loser example. It's a bit of a nerdy example, but I think there's something that goes on here that's kind of like meditation, where it's like, you can talk about it all day, every day, and you can analyze and you can explain the reasons behind why it's great. But if you don't actually just do it and like practice, you're never actually going to experience the benefits. And I feel a similar way. I feel like, over the years, I've had conversations with you, with producers, with just other industry folks about how you've got to go into the studio and be open. You've got to, not be so emotional about the songs. Obviously it feels like every song is your baby, but really you just have to be objective about it and go in there and just try and make the best song possible and not get attached to, say, what you had yesterday, last week, last year. So we've been talking about this for years, but I feel like that's fine. But it's only actually doing it and being in the studio that you build that understanding of, oh, I was really stressed about X. Then I just left it for 2 days and came back to it. And now it's not so bad. And now it's another 2 days and it's my favorite part of the record.
Got it. Okay. Now, the chord change you referenced earlier, it caused you a couple of challenges when it came to live looping. Can you explain why?
Yes. So one of the... probably the most frustrating element of live looping is the fact that, at least the way I do it, you have to stick to one chord progression, right? So you loop 4 bars of music, and those are going to have, let's say 4 different chords for first, second, third, and fourth bars. If a different section of the song has a totally different 4 chords, then you're kind of stuck with the original that you looped. The principle of live looping, again, the way I do it, which is also, as far as I can tell, the way Ed Sheeran and Tash Sultana do it, is that all 4 bars of the loop have to work for every part of the song, right? So the way that you get around that, if you have different chords in different sections of the song, is you might say, well, we're only going to have like chordal melodic information in the chorus. So when we play a verse that has different chords, we'll just turn everything off but the drums. And we can play guitar in real time and make changes there. But we only bring in our melodic 4-bar loops when we get to the chorus, so that we only have to play these 4 chords, right?
Yep.
So that works great for a lot of my songs. A lot of my songs have the exact same 4 chords throughout the whole song, or they have different chords in the verse and then the same chords in the chorus. So, okay, the verse can be more sparse. We'll just have some drums and my live guitar. And then we get to the chorus, we'll bring on that melodic information. The unique trouble with Make Up Moves is that Make Up Moves has different chords in the chorus to the post-chorus.
Right.
It's the only time that happens in any of my songs, as far as I know. At least at the time of recording this, the ones I've released. And so, it's one thing to have the verse feel very sparse, and then bring up all that melodic information to the chorus. That's cool. But it's another thing to go, the chorus is going to be really sparse, and then we're going to bring all that melodic information back for the post-chorus. Or even worse would be, we're going to have all this cool melodic information in the chorus, and then strip it away for the post-chorus. It doesn't quite work. Both those moments, the chorus and the post-chorus with the you kind of need that melodic information.
And it's quite subtle musically, and maybe people will listen to the song after the podcast and really focus in and concentrate on. I mean, not everyone's musical, and therefore not everyone interprets chords, but the feel, the vibe of the chorus. And then when you get to the post-chorus, it goes into a different vibe or feel. That's the underlying chords changing in the song, right?
Yeah, I would describe the emotional impact of the post-chorus, the A, being just pure happiness, like just straight up happiness. I would describe the chorus chords, which are different, as having a bit more tension and sort of leading somewhere. They're not quite satisfied.
For the non-musical folk, and that I can sing, I don't have any musical theory, are the post-chorus chords all major and the other ones more, or maybe I'm asking the wrong question now.
They are all major. But funnily enough, I think that they're not purely just major chords. See, okay, so this is the thing. I'm not like classically trained either, so I can play these things and I can hear them and I can talk about their emotion, but I don't actually know like
the musical theory behind it. Yeah,
I just pick up the guitar and go here. Okay, that's a shape. I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that, because I'm like, I don't really know.
It's okay. We're brutally honest on this podcast.
Yes,
we're not trying to hide anything.
So true.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah.
So look, last question. This song is about dancing, right? Or dancing, but I'm going to say dancing.
Okay. Thank you.
So you personally, are you partial to a boogie?
For those who are only watching the video, you just missed it, but I just did the sickest.
Video
only listen to audio. You missed it, but I just did the sickest like dance move of all time. I just did the little,
the wave.
Is it the pop and lock?
I don't know. I call it the wave.
The wave is like when you go to watch the football and everyone goes, ah.
No, okay, but maybe different generation, different thing.
Okay. And I'm currently doing a handstand.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. No, I'm very partial to a boogie. I'm probably less keen on the club than the average 21-year-old in Melbourne. I don't drink, and I like to go to bed earlier. Otherwise, I'm an old man. I get cranky if I go to bed too late too often.
Well, it doesn't help that you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start working.
Well, no, you say that. I used to do that. I did that in year 12. I did that in uni. Music's getting to me, and it's like the more I'm full-time music now, the more I just like, there are certain late nights that are inevitable, and then those sort of not wear on you, but they sort of cascade, and I find myself now. Whereas I used to be like, if I went to bed at 12 p.m. when I was 18, I would have been like, damn, this sucks. This is, what an awful result. I've mismanaged my time, or I've been unlucky and just had to do this. Whereas now, that's happened so many times that I'm like, I don't really care. So I end up, everything has been shifting back. So now I end up getting up at 7:30 or 7, which I'm not very happy about. But, it's something I'm going to have to keep, checking in on as I go. But yeah, I don't mind a boogie. I don't drink, and I don't want to stay up too late too often. So I'm not like going out every weekend. But I'll get dragged out by the friends, and I've got a few very elementary moves. Very
good. Well, ISHAN, thank you for Make Up Moves. Great song. Really enjoy it.
Thank you.
And I enjoy the musicality of it. That I think more about the musicality than I do at the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's my sort of, I guess, my love in thinking about the musicality and the chords and the way the music makes me feel. And this one in particular, I find it really cool, and as I said, a bit unusual compared to your usual songs, the normal songs. So well done, love it.
Brilliant, thank you. All right, and we will see you all back here for another episode when we will talk about a song for my brother.
A song for my brother.
All right, see you then.